Good morning. Today we're going to create a water reflection of a picture using Adobe Photoshop. The first thing to do is to open the picture with Adobe Photoshop. After you open the picture, you center it, you're going to click on the selection tool and you're going to select the whole picture. You're going to click Edit, Copy, and close it. Now you're going to click File, New, and this is going to give you the dimensions of the canvas. What you have to do first is modify the height only and multiply it by 2, and that's going to be the value. So in this case it's going to be 428 pixels. Make sure that the background contents are transparent. This is very important. It has to say transparent here. That will give you the size of the new canvas. Now you still have the picture in memory, so what you're going to do now, you're going to say Edit, Paste. You're going to get the selection tool and move the picture to the top. That will be the first part of this exercise. I'm going to stop this for a minute. Okay, now we're going to continue. As you can see, the landscape has been placed on layer 1. We still have the copy of the picture in memory. What we want to do now, we're going to repeat the same operation, and we're going to say Edit, Paste again. Now that is going to put the picture on a second layer, and what we want to do now, we'll move it to the bottom. Okay, you don't have to center it. Just right now we're just working with the picture movement around. Now this picture is located on layer 2. What we need to do now, we have to click on Edit, Free Transform. Okay, and the reason you do this is that you can move the picture and resize it accordingly, whatever you need to do. Okay, make sure that you cover the whole landscape, the whole canvas. Okay, now say Edit, Transform, Rotate, and rotate the picture. Click on the selection on the move tool to place here, to apply the transformation. Now it cannot give you like a reflection, but it's not. If you can see, the buildings are on the opposite side, so we need to flip this picture around. Now we're going to say Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and that is going to align the buildings. Okay, now we're still working on layer 2. Okay, so if you want to move the picture on layer 1 just to center it a little bit, you can do that. Don't worry about the part on the top. We'll fix that later. So we go back to layer 2 and we kind of center the picture. It is very important that you remember in which layer you're working. Okay, so the reflection is on layer 2. So I'm gonna click on layer 2 to work on this part, which means that whatever I do is not gonna affect the layer 1. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I grab the red color here and a brush, and I trace a line here. Now that line is on layer 2 only, it's not on layer 1. I'm going to turn off layer 2 so you can see that. See, that's layer 1. We're looking at layer 1. Layer 2 has been turned off. Okay, I'm going to turn off layer 1 now so you can see that the line is on layer 1. On layer 2, I'm sorry. Okay, now I don't need that line, so I'm going to go Edit, Undo Brush Tool. Now the big advantage with working with layers is that you can modify only the portion of the picture that you need to modify. In this case, we want to modify the bottom part of the picture to create a reflection. Okay, so what we're going to do now we're gonna create some blur. So we're gonna create filter, blur, motion blur. Okay, and we want to set the angle to 90 degrees and the distance to 30 pixels. So that's gonna help with this distort our image a little bit. Again, do not worry if you see the transparent things on the background of the picture. We can fix that later. Now we want to select the smudge tool. This is the smudge tool. If you don't find it, just right click here until you find it. Click on the smudge tool. We're going to set the size of the brush to 150. Okay, that's 150. The hardness should be at 0 and the strength to 20%. So the hardness 0 and the strength should be to 20%. Or 21, doesn't have to be exact, but if you want to be exact, just put a 20 right there. That'll be 20%. And just move the buildings a little bit, just to give the impression of a distorted picture. Okay, that looks like a reflection, but we can even make it better by creating some water ripples. To do this, we're going to create a new layer. Okay, so I'm going to say layer, new layer. So this is going to be layer 3. We're going to click OK, and as you can see, it was placed on layer 3. Now we're going to fill this layer with white, so I'm going to move the colors. White has to be in my foreground. I'm going to use the bucket tool and I'm just going to drop it. Now it's going to look like your picture disappeared. That is fine, don't worry about it. Now we're going to go to filter, noise, add noise, and we're going to set the amount to 400, Gaussian, monochromatic. Okay, 400, click on the Gaussian button here, and monochromatic, click OK. Okay, now we're going to go to filter, blur, motion blur, we're going to set the angle to 0 degrees and the distance to 40 pixels. Now we'll modify the contrast. So we're going to click Control L. We'll click OK. Now we set up the contrast, Control L, to modify the levels of the contrast. The input is going to be black. Here you leave the channel alone, okay, and just modify this. The input levels 147, midtones 1.53, and input white 290. This is the only thing that you're gonna move. Do not move the channel RGB. Do not move the output levels. Just leave it like that and click OK. Now, to make the ripple seem more real, we have to work on the perspective. So we're gonna click on Edit, Transform, Perspective. And we're gonna go to the corner, left or right, and move it. Okay. We're gonna drag it. Okay, this is a little bit harder than I thought. If you made a mistake, you can always do undo, okay? Now this is the hard part, but don't worry, we'll get it to work somehow. You can always click undo and fix it. Here I'm just trying to change the perspective a little bit. Okay. So right click on the corner, one of the corners, bring the perspective down, and open it up so it will look like this. Okay, once you have the perspective the way you want it to, apply the transformation. Now we want to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to set the value to 3 pixels and the layer opacity to 30 and the blend mode to soft light. So I'm going to set this to 3 pixels, click OK. Then I'm going to come over here, select the opacity to 30%, and the blend mode to soft light. Okay, now remember, even if it looks like this, we can always modify the particular layer later. Okay, so if I click here and here, you're gonna see that we can come over here and modify the image. Okay, you can click perspective and fix it. Okay, open it up a little bit and fix it. Apply the transformation. And now it seems like it has water ripples. Okay. Now I can come back to the other layers and fix up whatever I need to fix up just to finish this. I can always say edit, pre-transform, and make the image a little bit bigger to cover that little boo-boo that I have there. Apply the transformation, apply, go to image 2, edit, pre-transform, make it a little bit bigger, and that's it. Now it looks like your building is reflecting upon the water. Thank you. It has been a pleasure working with you again.